Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we will discuss Marxist theory of culture. After understanding various aspects of culture and after discussing kinds of cultures and after discussing functionalist perspective on culture, we are here on Marxism on the meaning of culture. Um Marx is not different from, the theme as far as the origin of culture is concerned. Partially he agrees with the time that culture has its origin uh, in the social, in the societal, we can say, relationships. But he further, as we can anticipate, he further develops his theory that culture is basically grounded in the materialistic relationships and in the economic relationships of society. Uh, you all know about Marxist theory, I assume that, and you have done it in perhaps various courses. So the the beginning point of Marxist theory of culture is that, first of all, he sees human beings as essentially the creatures who work and who work consciously. Animals, we see some animals also working, for example, creating their nests and creating their homes. But Marx says that animals are identical with their activities, they are one with their activities. As there is a law of identity in philosophy or in mathematics, identity, they are identical, exactly same. There is no separateness or distinction between, there is no subject object relationship. And all the Western philosophy, modern Western philosophy, is basically based on this dualism, subject object. And Marx is also basically taking it from Descartes. So human subject. So what happens that man makes his own activity as object. What does it mean? It means that he is conscious of his activity, and therefore he can plan and manage at his will, right? So this is the beginning of, we can say, society. That when man works, it is basically the beginning of, you can say, culture or society. But it's the beginning of, we can say, society. And that society would basically, will be created when man cooperates with other man. Sorry. When man cooperates with other fellow men to create something. So first of all, the you can say foundations of society according to Karl Marx are twofold. Number one, he works uh, for his bread. He needs food and his physical needs, so he works. And secondly, he cooperates with other people. And in the conditions of freedom, when this cooperation, when this relationship with other people is based on freedom, he uses his creativity, he uses his imagination. And this is the ideal conditions, an ideal society, where he is free in his creativity, he expresses his creativity, and he expresses his humanity basically. Because Marx says that the essential feature of human beings is creativity. So it is only through creative work that we express our human essence, right? So the essential, we can say, the essential element of humanness is creative work, productive work, according to Karl Marx. And this is done by relating to other people. Now, what happens uh, when this, with the passage of time, what happened? But before that, sorry, I'll say that, so how culture originates. It originates when human beings enter into relationship with other people. So that is basically the beginning of culture, and that is the beginning of, we can say, also in the sense of art and literature. And but with the passage of time, what happened with society is that uh, some human beings basically, they uh, they owned they started owning the means of production, and the idea of private property became embedded in the society. And there were so classes: one class which owns the means of production, and the other class which had just labor as a means of production at its disposal. So we had this sort of situation, human situation. And we know that Karl Marx says that how this evolves, and from slavery to feudalism to capitalism. So with different tools of with different instruments of economic system, the system prevailed. And so in this situation, what would happen, that this is not a condition where human creativity is free. A worker cannot fully express his creative work when his product is not owned by him. So what would happen, that he would be alienated from his product, and with the passage of time he would be alienated from the act of production, and then he would be alienated from the other fellow beings, and finally he would be alienated from his own human essence, because he would not be able to express fully, he would not be able to express his creative work, right? So this, in these conditions, we can say that his culture would be, we can say, the culture of society uh, would be dominated by the ruling class. And ruling class basically would be able to impose its ideology on the working class, right? So we will continue with this discussion.